Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of CRC Stays at Home. Now, my name is Kit May, and today I'll be sharing with you on what I'm going through, and I hope it'll be beneficial. It's on how to prepare for marriage. Some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, she's not engaged, neither is she married. So why is she talking to me about how to prepare for marriage? Well, simply because I think I'm going through the process of preparing myself, so I hope that this would be beneficial for you. Now, to some, marriage can sound very scary because it's a lifetime decision. To the others, marriage can sound slightly more exciting because they're planning for the wedding day. From the bouquet of flowers they are going to pick, to the color theme, to the wedding gown, so on and so forth. It can be quite exciting to plan for, I imagine. But I just want to assure you, it's normal to feel scared and excited about marriage because that's exactly what I'm going through. I'm scared but excited about it because it's a lifetime decision. It's gonna be you spending time, all your days of your life, with your partner till he or she dies. And for me, it's to spend time with him till he dies. And that's pretty scary because imagine all the fights that you're gonna have, all the times when you're disappointed with one another, all the things that you're gonna go through, and that's for a lifetime. But it can be quite exciting, and I'll explain to you why. If you're single and watching this video and thinking, I shouldn't be watching it because it doesn't help me in any way, I'm not preparing for marriage, then I want to encourage you in a different way to talk to people in church to work out whether you should stay single or whether you should get married, and also to listen to the sermons that we have online. So 2 years ago we had Reverend Philip Jensen from Australia to come and preach to us at our church camp, and the title was Relationships. And back when CRC started, no, not when CRC started, correct me on this. It's when in 2012 we had another series called Relationships as well. So 2 sermon titles, 2 sermon series just on this topic. I think it's worth checking out. And to those of you who are dating, I like to encourage you to open up the subject of marriage to your partner. This will help you plan out short-term plans, long-term plans, and see where the relationship is heading towards. If your partner is dating you, or if you're dating your partner with no intentions of marrying them at all, then my question to you is, why are you spending time with them? Why are you dating them? Playing with their feelings and not giving them any hopes of probably marriage. There's a disclaimer to this though. I don't mean to say that everyone you date is the person that you'll end up marrying. It doesn't have to be. But I'm saying that the person you date, every day you date them, you should have that perspective in mind and question yourself, will I be willing to spend the rest of my life with this person? I'm no expert in romanceology, but I'm gonna try my best to share how you too can prepare for marriage. So tip number 1, I like to encourage you to be reading books about marriage. And I picked up this book at home. It's called Married for God by Christopher Ash. And because my parents had it at the start, and I thought, wow, this is a really good book, and I wanted more of it. So then I got the bigger version by the same author, but Marriage, Sex and the Service of God. And this book, like you can see, how many pages? 394, but I'm halfway there, so I'm quite excited. I'm halfway there, yay! This book tells you a lot about marriage that you need to know. It's like your 101 guide. Besides the Bible, this is it, okay? I like to share some quotes from the book with you, which I found helpful. This is also the book that our CRC library recommends, so it's good. Now, there are 2 things that I've picked up from this book and that might be really helpful in your preparation in marriage. Number 1 is to hear this from Christopher Ash. He says, marriage is the status of relationship whose terms, structure, and calling are given by the Creator. Now we know that God made this world, and marriage is also made by Him. Therefore, there is a created order in which involves us being conformed to His will. The second point is, marriage is to be a visible and lived out image of the love of the Lord for His people, and this relationship is so central to reality that the project of imaging it is seen as the primary purpose of marriage. Nowadays, we tend to think that marriage is about my partner, my husband and I, or if you are a man, it's about my wife and I. But that is not what we mean in the purpose of marriage here. The purpose of marriage here is to show the world that Christ loves His church. So, the purpose of marriage, or the purpose of all of life, whether you're single or whether you're married, is to glorify God. And to prepare yourself for marriage is to understand the gospel and to live it out. So when you understand the gospel and you're living it out, when you're married, then you're better together as a unit with your husband or your wife, serving God together. Now, I'm going on to my next tip on how to prepare for marriage, and I've actually moved from my last position where I filmed myself to another place, and I got some ice cream with me. So one tip is to talk to all the people in church, your elders, your pastors, married couples in church. And one of the things that I picked out is they will tell you that marriage is not a bed of roses. This is because we're all sinners, and it takes two sinners to put in all the hard work it needs for the marriage to work out. Every marriage should aim to reflect Christ's church. Rather than finding the right person to marry, you should work on yourself to be that right person to marry. So look at yourself, look at what are things that you need to work on as you prepare for marriage. That's a better way to look at it. Now girls, I know you love meeting up with your girlfriends, so please use that opportunity to ask them for wisdom. It's good to get their opinion, it's good to get wise counsel from your other godly girlfriends, and that's how you prepare for marriage as well. Ladies, if you are counseling someone who's thinking about marriage, I urge you to give good godly advice to them, because that's what I look forward to whenever I meet godly women and ask them about how to prepare for marriage, or any marriage advice that they'll give me as I think about it. And now tip number 3, I finished my ice cream so I can go on talking about the next tip. It's about reflecting and writing about your relationship. Now, as you prepare for marriage, I think it's important to think about what's been going really well and what could be worked on in the relationship. Remember that marriage is a lifelong decision. There's no way you can backtrack on it. So you want to make this decision based on what you now know and what you can work on to serve God better in church together in this relationship. Remember that there's no perfect man for you or perfect woman for you guys, but you want to make sure that this marriage ultimately serves God and His church and glorifies Him. Now, the last tip is kids. Little babies, I mean. So with marriage, like Christopher Ash in this book says, he says that procreation is a blessing. When you're preparing for marriage, you also got to think about talking about the number of kids that you would like with your husband, or if guys with your future wife, you need to think about how many kids you want to have. Now, it's not just about making babies, you know what I mean, but it's about bearing those children, nurturing them in the ways of the Lord, making sure that they grow up to fear God, love His word, love His people, know His will, and glorify Him in their lives. Okay, we're coming to the end of my video now, and I'm gonna just recap about the 4 tips on how to prepare for marriage from my perspective. So tip number 1 is to definitely read this book, Marriage by Christopher Ash. Tip number 2 is to talk to your pastors, your elders, older people in church to find out what marriage life is like. Tip number 3 it's to spend time reflecting and writing about how your relationship has been, and this will help you greatly in making a decision. Tip number 4, it's to talk about having kids, nurturing them in the ways of the Lord, bearing children, not just making babies, but bearing and nurturing them. Now that's it from me. I really hope you've enjoyed your time as much as I've enjoyed making this video. Continue watching our other videos, subscribe to our channel, and stay safe, stay at home. Bye bye.